What an amazing Final Four that we've seen so far. And what a wild game this was. Now, was this a bad beat or a miracle win? Of course, if you're a Duke fan, this is a bad beat. They had a 6-point lead with 30 seconds to go, and they still lost. But if you're a Houston fan, then this was amazing. So life is really a matter of perspective here, and this is what I love about college sports. The excitement here or the agony of defeat, it's just a very interesting life experience. And I personally experienced a lot of different emotions during this game, and mostly because of this. The full Kenpom bracket had Duke as a national champion. In fact, Duke was the most picked national champion, 25% of all the brackets in the ESPN Bracket Challenge. So this was a bad beat if you had Duke as a champion in your bracket. However, if you have more than one bracket here, which I do, I still have Florida alive. And I put this in my updated Kenpom bracket video where I picked Florida over Duke in the national championship game. Both of these are at 97.7%, but only the Florida bracket here has a chance of improving. Now, I realize that many people probably play the bracket pools with family and friends. Maybe put some money in on there, maybe $10, $20, whatever, maybe more, who knows. Maybe you play with your coworkers, and that can be a lot of fun. But regardless, I hope that you join a bracket pool. We could do at least a couple of brackets. If you just have one bracket, that's not a lot of fun when your champion goes out, whether it be in the Final Four, in the first round, or whenever. So this is what I really like about the ESPN Bracket Challenge. You get 25 brackets, and that's right. I definitely picked more than 2 brackets. In fact, check this out. I have both Florida over Houston in one of my brackets and Houston over Florida in another one. There's 25 brackets here. These are 2 of them. Both of these are 99.9 percentile. A 32,000 rank in a bracket pool that has over 25 million brackets is very good. And I know that one of these 2 brackets is going to climb even higher. So I'm really happy about this. I'm really happy about how I did this. I know that one of these 2 brackets is going to be very high after tonight's game. Now, I mentioned this in my Picking a Champion video. I take my top 4 contenders. In this case, it was the 4 number 1 seeds this year. And last year, I did have Arizona at 2 seed in my top 4 contenders. But this year is all the number 1 seeds for obvious reasons here. All 4 of the number 1 seeds, as we know, had the highest Kenpom rankings this year. Very, very high, over 35 plus. So picking just among the number 1 seeds here was definitely a good strategy in this year's bracket. I take my top 4 teams. I look at all the pairs. So I had Duke and Auburn, Duke and Florida, Florida and Houston. And I make it so that each one of those teams beats the other team in all the brackets. So I had Florida over Houston and Houston over Florida. That's a total of 12 different brackets. That's just under half of the 25 brackets I filled out on my ESPN Bracket Challenge. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how high one of these 2 brackets finishes after tonight's game. Oh, and by the way, I did the same thing for the second chance bracket. Now, I didn't have enough time to fill out all of these 12 brackets, so I just have Houston here being Florida in the final, but this is still a 100% bracket, a perfect bracket for the ESPN Second Chance Bracket Challenge. Let's look at the Kenpom stats for Monday, April 7th, 2025. Now, check out the highlighted teams here. These are the 2 teams that are in the tournament, obviously, the championship game, Houston and Florida. Let's look at the Kenpom prediction for tonight's game. Here we go. Florida and Houston. Very high net ratings. This is updated stats. Florida has a better offense than Houston, but again, Houston has this amazing defense. So in this case, we're the 2nd highest offensive rating as of today, April 7th, and still the number 1 defense in Houston. The predicted tempo is around 64, and look at the score here. This could be another very tight game. We have Houston slightly better than Florida here, 70.3 to 70.1 points. So I basically say here that it would be Houston 71, Florida 70, a total of 140, the spread of minus 0.2 for Houston, and a win percentage of 51% for Houston. Now, I know that the sportsbooks have Florida as about a 1.5 point favorite right now as of Monday morning, and I can't really disagree with that. But if you're going to go with the Kenpom prediction here, which has been very good this year, then maybe it would make sense to pick Houston on the money line to beat Florida. But again, only bet as much as you can lose, right? This is a game that is expected to be very, very close. I could see this game going either way. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm a little bit down here. This is going to be the last March Madness video that I make this year. I can't wait to get back to this again next year. I can't wait to dominate the ESPN Bracket Challenge in 2026. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'll see you next year.